I rather see my money grow in front of me and maybe take some risk. I value uncertainty and the unknown. I'd rather just put it somewhere and just take that gamble.
Three and two, one.
All right, guys. Welcome to the Iron Sharpens Iron podcast. You got Joe, Gerald, and then me, Darren. Welcome in, guys.
Welcome, welcome.
So
Go.
today we're gonna break down the story of how Gerald became his origin story.
Me?
Gerald, met you about 1 year ago now. Wow, time's flying, huh?
Yeah, dude. Time goes freaking fast, especially when you have babies together, separate women.
Man.
Separately, babies together but
Pause.
separately.
Pause.
Pause. Uh, so yeah, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, Gerald? Just starting from wherever you want to start. Anything that would give us context on how you became here, how you became an Iron Sharpens Iron REI podcast host, and how we met and how this all flourished.
All right. Well, look, man. For one, I appreciate you both for giving me the opportunity to speak this week because I was hoping for next week, but hey, why not, man? Why not? I was gonna get my hair cut next week and maybe look all good and get my mustache done, maybe trim off the chin hair. But hey, look, bro, I'm ready for it. Yeah. So I guess where it all began, a little bit about me. I grew up with five brothers and one sister, and I was a middle child. And you know what they say about the Oreo, right? The middle is everybody's favorite part. So like, hey, we're gonna start off. We're gonna start that off right like that. We're gonna start it off with a bang. Um, so yeah, guys, I grew up watching my pops, watching my mom work super hard, all that to come to a point where come 2008, we were hit with the housing market crash. It was a point in our lives that we knew that things weren't going to be the same anymore. Family had split. My siblings, we all kind of scattered everywhere because we just didn't have secure housing. So we've struggled with housing securities growing up, affordability, and just moving back and forth from Stockton to the Bay Area, from Hayward to Fremont, Newark, all up and down East Bay, coming back to the Central Valley, all up and down Stockton. So that was a bit of our upbringing. Went to different high schools, and I've always knew that I wanted to become my own boss, entrepreneur, and just really what instilled in me was like just wanted to become my own businessman because my dad is a businessman. He's a general contractor, and I just always had grown up watching him do business and how he's presented himself with customers and clients and how he handled business transactions. Every summer, me and my little brothers, me and my brother JR, and I don't think so much my other. It was always me and my brother JR. My dad would always bring us to like project sites, to job sites, and he always had to deal with the customer where like, hey, we can get you a cheaper price as long as you let us stay here since the job sites were always vacant. So during the
Mm.
summer, throughout the whole week, me and my brother JR would just sleep with we would sleep at the job site with my dad. So it was always fun because my dad would make sure, he'd bring the TV, he'd bring the PS1, we'd bring games, football, bikes, and we would just haul that in the back of the truck. And while my dad would be working with his crew, me and my little brother would just be going around the job site, fucking picking out material, throwing shit at each other, and playing WWE. And just using material as like weapons. Like obviously we weren't actually hitting each other with it, but that's the kind of fun that me and my brothers had growing up at the construction job site. So, um,
You see Gerald getting thrown through a piece of drywall.
hey, that's definitely happened before. I mean, we had to tear down this drywall and we just ran right through it, knowing that it was already broken. It was just too much fun on the project. So, uh, I understood how a nice house, or sorry, I understood how something as distraught could turn into something beautiful even though at that age I didn't really like have a keen eye at what it looked like, but more so just understanding that we're only here for a matter of a month because my dad had to do the job and then get it completed from ugly to beautiful, and then we're on to the next one. So at that time I was probably like 11 or 12, not even understanding business, not even understanding the relationship my dad held with clients and other investors. But because we were so exposed and drenched in that world, it doesn't scare me, right? Construction doesn't scare me. And I'll tell you one story. One time, me and my brother, we're a little older now. At this time, we're older. I think I'm 16 years old, and we decided to just G-ride this Suzuki that we used to have. And we went around the block. Mind you, my dad is working on the project, so he doesn't know what his teenage boys are doing. We're driving around, and when we come right back, I'm driving actually, and I didn't know how to drive. So as soon as we pull up back to the house, I actually drove straight into the fence.
Ooh.
And my dad was pissed, and he had to
Is it
end up fixing
manual
it.
or automatic?
It's a manual. It's a manual.
Oh,
He had to end up fixing that fence, and it took away from the bottom line. So it's like I get to see we're part of everything. You know what I mean? And so like fast forward, get into high school. Now we're back at the 2008 crash. My family's struggling, and I knew like, well, school's not really for me, right? And nothing to it. It's just I was just a lazy kid, not looking to get his grades up. But I did want to make money, so I picked up a pair of clippers and I started cutting kids' hair from the school. And I just picked up entrepreneurship from them. Sorry, let me say that again. I picked up entrepreneurship from that time. Making money day by day, and just over time, I would just grow my clientele, which were students from high school. And from far back as I can remember, do you guys remember text blasting through your phone? I think you can have a text and you can send it out to like 5 or 10 contacts. So
in a group chat or like separately?
No, I think in one chat, and then it would be like a group chat, but it wasn't like nobody. It wasn't like a chat or whatever.
A million different text messages from everyone in there.
Yeah. So I would send out texts saying like, "Hey, first cut's free. Next haircut is $5 from here on out. Refer somebody, and you get your first haircut. Refer somebody, and you get a haircut for free every single time." So I had blasted that out to like 10 people, and then it just spread out throughout the whole entire school. Next thing you know, I'm known for the kid that cut hair, and I was just getting people that hit me up that said, "Hey, man, I heard you cut hair," and it kind of just started off that way. So I understood, I guess, marketing from the standpoint of I understood marketing, not understanding exactly what it was actually doing to myself or what it was actually doing for my brand. I didn't even think of it as a brand at the time. So I'm cutting hair, graduate high school, and I go to barber school, and I'm making money, and at least from what I thought was money, making quick cash flow and just making maybe $2,000, $4,000 a month, but it not going anywhere besides bills, food, drinking every weekend, taking my girl out and just having fun, right? Not having any responsibilities for the world, just out there doing the thing and living life. And it wasn't until 2017 on the radio when I've heard Fortune Builders by Dan Murrow, I think that's what it was. Fortune Builders were coming out to Stockton, and they said, "Hey, if you want to invest in real estate, come join this 2-hour masterclass at the Hilton Hotel, and you can go to the Hilton Hotel and learn all there is about real estate investing." So I was like, "Fuck it," like I'm already cutting hair. I'm thinking I'm making a lot of money, and all this money needs to be put towards something. So I went to this 2-hour masterclass with my boy, and I actually loved it because it was always, I guess, the type of demographic that these people are speaking to are people that are really long-term minded, so they seek long-term gratification. So it was this whole, buy property, let it grow over time and appreciate. And later on, you can use it as a safety net for your college tuition or your kids' college tuition, or even just a bank account is what they say, right? Buy your house and it's essentially your savings account. Now I bought into it. My boy didn't. He thought he was stupid. He said, "Man, fuck this. We don't want to. We're trying to buy houses just to fix it up, man. That's fake." But I didn't buy into that. I bought into the whole dream of, man, I'm gonna do real estate because it's gonna appreciate over time. And on top of that, cutting hair as a barber doesn't cutting hair as a barber does not have no future whatsoever. Not unless I'm putting in multiple Roth IRA accounts. I just didn't want to go that route. I rather see my money grow in front of me and maybe take some risk. I value uncertainty and the unknown. I'd rather just put it somewhere and just take that gamble. Right. And I knew because my father was in construction that if I just got into that game with the knowledge of construction and just getting into real estate, flipping houses, maybe this could be easy. Maybe this could be easy for me. Fast forward, that 2 hour masterclass turned into if you sign up with us today and you spend $300, you get a weekend's worth of real estate that we teach to you with a whole group of people that are in the same seat as you are that want to invest in real estate. And it's at the Hilton Hotel once again, but in the bigger venue, right? So I bought into that $300, and it's this 3 day event where it's really a bunch of people trying to rah this whole crowd and trying to get everybody jumping. And I wasn't used to all that stuff, right? They were telling us, get up, get loud, and scream. And I'm like, this is kind of whack, you know? So, but it was cool though, right? So I went to the first day. It was cool. The second day started getting a little bit of salesy. The third day never came back. But that didn't stop me from learning real estate. See, what I understood was I could either continue my education with fortune builders and buy into their $2,000 program and have them quote unquote walk you through your first investment property, or just continue my own education by myself, whether I go read books, podcasts, or YouTube videos. I went the latter, and I just wanted to go the free route because I didn't have $2,000 just laying around for a course, right? And I wanted to go on my pace because we're entrepreneurs. We don't go by anybody else's path, but we blaze our own paths. So it's 2017. I get into real estate investing. I'm listening to all the bigger podcasts, uh, videos, watching all the video podcasts, YouTube videos, reading all the books, getting the small little courses here and there, signing up for Wholesaling Inc. in 2020. And come COVID, when the whole world shut down and cutting hair just seemed like something that it was now going to be like diminished in the face of the earth. Like, oh, what? I can't cut hair no more. Like, they say, what? You got to be only 6 feet away from people, or you got to be 6 feet apart from people. Well, I'm literally in the client's face cutting their hair. So I thought that cutting hair was just going to be a thing of a past for me. So I just started really exercising the creativity and started thinking about, okay, what ways can I make money that gets me involved in real estate and can potentially make me money in the next 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. And I 2020, I was 24. I was 24. Okay. And I left this piece out. 2018, 2019 is when I bought my first property right down the street from UOP, right in front of the Michael's Pizza. It was supposed to be a rental property for the college students, but family, this whole thing turned into this. Everybody wanted to move into the house, and I couldn't say no to family. Right? You couldn't pay me enough to reject my family, so we just housed my family. And I now understood how to manage the rehab because the whole house was a dump. It was from the housing urban development, and I pretty much took down the whole property and just managed the construction. And then we got my family in there, and it was smooth sailing from there as we thought. When really the worst thing you could really do is buy property initially for an investment property and then house your family in there. The two and two don't go together, so I suggest never do that. Otherwise, otherwise you come up with a sound strategy that'll, in the event your family does move out, you have something, a plan B going forward. But that's what I didn't have, so I end up selling my half of the equity because when I would go over to the house, It was always this thing where, hey, Gerald is here. He's technically the landlord. So it was this weird disconnect between my family, and I just didn't like it. So I said, you know what? Let me just sell my portion. Let me call it a day. My parents still live there to this day, and our relationships are a whole lot better. But anyways, Joe, if you can, maybe we don't have to add that part up. Whatever. So well, yeah. So well, let's dive into that now, right? So it was COVID. So everybody's jobs is kind of like on hot. Everybody's job is on a standstill right now. My dad's not working. My mom's not working, and we didn't want to do the forbearance program because my partner at the time didn't. He knew that money would have to get paid back, and at the purchase price plus the amount of rehab we put into the property, just didn't make sense for us to do the forbearance program. So we had a really we. I rather not. Oh, the forbearance. The forbearance program is during the time of COVID. The banks were allowing people not to pay their mortgage, but there was a period of time. So yeah, sorry, I'm gonna butcher this, but the banks weren't allow the banks allowed people not to pay their mortgage, and I think it went on for like a good 6 months. And see, I can't really speak on it because we didn't do it, but from my understanding, at the end of the forbearance period, all that had to be paid back. From my understanding, I could be wrong, but anyways, so yeah, we didn't do the forbearance program. So I was already pumping out money into this property, having to pay off the rent, and my funds were going slim, 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 and it became this headache on the relationship side with my family, and I couldn't take it no more, so I ended up selling my side. So fast forward to 2020 was when I found wholesaling real estate. I joined this program, and they promised you in 90 days after cold calling 25 people a day. At day 90, I didn't get the deal, but it was somewhere around day 91 or day 92 was when I got my first deal. And so that was when the proof of concept really came to me, and it was gravy from there, right? So 2017 started my education. 2019 bought my first house, so already understood the education around buying property and managing a rehab. And in 2020, 2021, 2020, I got my first deal and understood how to transact in real estate.
Yeah, so I've noticed more so recently your motivation, your drive, it hasn't wavered, right? And
Mm-hmm.
like since I've met you or since we've met you, you've always had that drive, all of you guys. But I've noticed it's gotten to a new level. So can you speak on like continuing to learn and grow in your career and what you're doing as to keep yourself motivated?
No, dude, great question, man. I've always preached this even when I was working at the barbershop prior to real estate, and I've always committed to the self mastery, working on myself harder than working on my actual job. And I knew that if I worked on myself harder enough, that everything else would just follow suit. I'm a big believer in coaches, so I used to train a lot, and I invested into a fitness coach. And he used to tell me all the time, like, "Hey, Gerald, if your mind's not right, then everything else won't be right. So you got to get your mind right first." I took that and ran with it, bro. Like he didn't have to tell me anything more than that. I said, "Cool, coach. Thanks." Never looked back, and it was just a whole mind shift. It was a whole paradigm shift from there. Like, all right, get my mind right, get my mind right, get my mind right. So if it's one thing I could always tell people, right, besides the real estate, besides the accolades, besides how much money you can make, if your mind ain't right, everything else won't be right. So let's work on the mindset first. Second is I came from the background of, talking to a lot of people on the daily, working at the barbershop. So I think where it came from was just having different walks of life and having those conversations. I can't help but listen because I'm the one behind the chair doing the haircut. So it's always about the client. So the ideal was this is the client's time. I'm just part of their day. So I couldn't help but just listen. But I really found some real valuable knowledge from these older gentlemen that would come get haircuts and would just spit game to me, man. And I've always appreciated it, but what I have realized was that they appreciated me for even being this sponge for how young I was as a kid, and just had always looked up to me as an individual at the age that I was, and just always put in my head like, man, you're gonna be something one day. You're gonna go somewhere one day. I just had really good people put some good stuff in my head, and I've always just stayed connected with people that um, were gainers to me. When I say gainers, you have your gainers and you have your drainers. People that are going to gain the impression of increase around you are the ones that you really need to keep around, and then you have your drainers, your vampire energy people that are just going to suck all the life out of you. You got to get away from those guys. You know, I'm always going to surround myself with people that's giving me impression of increase. So Joe, talk to you every single day, and you're always dropping gems, and we're always brainstorming. We're iron sharpen irons. That's how this podcast even really started. And then same with you, Darren. Like I we you have skill sets that I admire that I want to embody. So that allows me to work on my stuff, but that allows me to also model you in certain ways, right? So just surround yourself around people that's going to feed you good stuff, feed you positivity, and that are always going to gain. Surround yourself with people that's going to give you more life.
You mentioned the mindset. Like you have to have the correct mindset before anything else will work. From your mindset coach and from your research and just studying and becoming a better you, what would you say a good mindset looks like?
To have a healthy mindset is to understand, for one, where you're going. So having that clear end in mind with a lot of clarity and understanding exactly what that looks like and what the activities you're doing every single day, the habits, the tasks, are they fully congruent with that person that you're picturing, right? That identity that you want to embody. So I wrote here, um, every single day I get into the journal and I'm literally writing down uh, the identity of future Gerald, right? Who is that person? And I'm writing it down in present tense, and I'm literally acting as that person. Yeah,
I'm just curious if you're
definitely.
open to it.
It's
What did you write?
um that's a good one.
Maybe just a synopsis of it if you don't want to
So
share
yeah,
the
yeah,
whole thing.
I put down. I boldly and proudly share the word of God with no hesitation. I am the best in my field, doing the things making it look easy. I confidently lead my team with vigor, and there's just a whole bunch of other stuff, man. But it's just talking the type of identity that you want to embody and writing it down, um, in pre and in present tense. So it's a constant project, right? I mean, the mindset, you can never really be 100% because there's always holes in your education. There's always holes in the development, right? Because we're all striving to be 100%. And I can confidently say that I'm not 100% because there's always some things about me that I can work on.
Prior to the podcast, Gerald, you had mentioned there are seasons where you have to redline, and you're in that season right now, or at least this week you've been redlining it. So my question to you, and I think I can't speak for Joe, but for myself, I feel like you've had the best balance between personal and professional. Where do you find the balance? How do you find the balance for your personal and your professional commitments?
Ooh, great question, man. So I utilize my journal every day, man. Like I live and die by this, and you're gonna have your projects that you're working on and your tasks that you got to get down. So there's this framework that I use. There's 4 levels to tackling your projects, and this ultimately have helped me with my personal and business life. That first level is merely just having a to-do list. right? Everybody has to-do lists, but that's not going to get you to that place where you need to be and produce those results. So that second level is having that to-do list, but being more specific to why you're doing it. So if on that to-do list I want to learn how to underwrite, or so I have to underwrite. So that's the to-do list, right? That's the activity. The second level would be I have to underwrite because I want to be great at comping and analyzing deals so I can identify a deal. So now you're putting reason behind it. You're giving it a reason why you got to get it done. But even that's not good enough. So now we have to schedule it. That's level 3, right? I'm going to underwrite for an hour every single day so I can get great at comping and analyzing and identifying deals every day at 10 o'clock. So now you have that on your calendar. Now that level 4 is when you separate all your urgent, non-important, your important, and your not urgent task. And then you have your priorities that you set. It's important for me to get this work done. I make sure that I underwrite, I'm posting content, I'm building out my business. So as long as I posted content, I can go make the cold calls and I can go and be at my best and serve the seller as much as I can. As long as I underwrite deals, I can go and hang out with my wife without feeling bad about not having to underwrite the deal. I can go build out my SOPs early in the morning without having to feel bad about being on this podcast.
What trends, what opportunities, strategies are you seeing in the real estate market right now? And what are you keeping your focus on? And what's next up for Gerald in real estate?
Everybody's becoming an investor. Everybody's becoming an investor. Everybody's becoming a wholesaler. Everybody's going to invest in real estate. Everyone's going to invest in Airbnbs. Everybody's going to do the thing. Okay, so where I'm seeing in the next generation of real estate investors are the ones that's going to be a little bit more sophisticated. So I'm constantly asking myself, how much more sophisticated can I be than the next person or than the next wholesaler or the next flipper? Right. So you see a lot of these guys getting their general contractor's license. You're seeing a lot of these guys becoming agents and wholesaling at the same time, or bidding out their SOPs and becoming gators. Right. So they always have this extra department that's a bolt on to their business that's allowing them to create the income while automating their acquisition company while buying property on the back end. So real estate investing had become this tool that is available to the masses because everybody wants to invest in real estate because it's sexy and because it makes a lot of money and because it's cool. But the ones that are really going to step into that next tier of real estate investing are the ones that's going to have the more sophisticated tool set.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And that tool set I'm referring to could be as simple as understanding how the operations of a fix and flip goes, or how to manage property, how to manage projects, how to manage Airbnbs on a high level, how to manage a boutique hotel at a high level, all while learning how to transact in real estate. So all the activities involved in real estate that could help you build businesses and departments that integrate together, I think is going to be your next big tier of real estate investors. If I'm understanding how to manage construction projects, understanding how to flip homes and develop from the ground up, understanding plans, permits, the planning, the whole process, just being an operator, all while understanding acquisitions and dispositions, man, it's like North California becomes this playground now that, you come across a deal and you have all the options available to turn that into a deal specifically for you or for the next buyer.
Now, tell me a little bit about, like, leveraging us. What do you see your role in our company evolving in like the next 5 years?
Mm.
Maybe even the next 5 months.
Yeah.
Us building out a construction sector, right? Utilizing the license. And I don't know. I'll let you guys fill in the blank because I haven't even thought that far. And I think I should, but I think I already know the answer to it, right? And that's just to integrate ourselves into just one umbrella business and doing a lot of just cool shit together and maybe developing. And Joe's currently working on a project in Berkeley that he's preparing, and dude, I could see us getting into those kind of deals, right? So sky's the limit, man. Who knows what I can provide you guys in regards to leverage, but I'll let you fill in the blank, you know? Mm-hmm.
You know those construction sites you see, and they're just sitting there for like a while, and you see a little progress. Okay, the frame is up, and all of a sudden, phew, you look and it's like done.
Yeah.
Like the whole thing. I feel like we're right there at that, phew, you know, the takeoff stage, and we're just building that foundation, like Darren said.
You know what's scary is when you drive by that and you have aspirations to take on projects like that, you can't fathom the idea of like, man, how do we even get to that? Like what goes down in a development project of like 82 or like 112 unit projects. And dude, I don't even get into it, not until I have to, right? That's the goal. But man, for the meantime, bro, as I'm smoothing, as I'm riding the smooth sailing into wholesale real estate and learning how to fix and flip, I'm gonna just let that come to me when it's ready, because I know God will give it to me. But for now, I'm gonna ask the question, why not me? And I think that's the what, right? The what is, what do you want? What exactly do you want to aim for? What is this going to do for you? And what is it that it will give to you and your family, and how it's going to impact you? And the how, I promise, will take care of itself.
Love it.
What's some last words of advice that you can give to people starting out, or just anybody in general in this industry or outside this industry? And where can they find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram at Gerald_Denier, TikTok, Gerald_Denier, X.com at Gerald_Denier, YouTube at Gerald_Denier. And my last, I guess, if I were to have some advice for people out there watching, I think that it was just that last few, like the last minute that I said, like if you have this big goal that you can't seem to fathom understanding right now, because maybe you don't have all the tools or the resources, right? Maybe you want to buy this big old grand house, or you want to develop communities and towns and build buildings. Keep that close to your heart. Dare to think big, because that's your what. We all have our what. We all have the dream. We all have the goal. But the how, you got to leave that up to God or the universe or however you see it. But the how will take care of itself, as long as you're working consistently every day and you have your goals and your short-term goals and you're executing on those short-term goals. Everything else will follow through.
Boom.
Love it.
You heard it live. That was Gerald Donner's origin story into real estate, into All Pro Home Solutions, into the Iron Sharpens Iron REI podcast. And we're your hosts, Joe Ha, Gerald Donner, and Darren Kebada. Signing out.
Yes, sir.